Hey guys, hope everything's going well today. Some classical music. We don't often do classical music in here. A little bit of Beethoven for you. For Elise. Let's take a look at the piece of paper for this. Okay, we have the first section here, and the second section is nearly identical, but this is a good starting point. You might want to pause the video and copy this. I can point out a couple things about this to you. That's an E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E, B, D, C, A. Continuing with the right hand, C, E, A, B. Sorry for the cross out in the left hand. This is E, G sharp, B. And the left hand comes in on second bar. It's A, E, A, C, E, A. And the left hand finishes with E, G sharp, B. And I think the second line is pretty clear. Okay, let me get you up on the screen. Forgive me while I zoom in. We have a different way of showing piano to you now. And I have to kind of zoom it back out. Sorry. Let's see where we're at. And I'm over here. I don't like to be over here. That feels a little bit better if I'm over here. That's more normal. Okay. So we're going to take a look at just the right hand first. The signature opening move. Okay. One thing you want to do with this is you want to keep count. E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E. That means the E gets hit a total of 3 times with those D sharps in between. So there's a total of 5 hits here, and you want to kind of count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a second and pause the video here and just kind of and build up your speed a little bit. We don't have to go super fast for this. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the notes directly right after those 5 notes. B, D, C, A. Now it's a little bit of a finger twister. These are built with these 4 notes here, but kind of going in a weird order. The B followed by D, C, A. So you might want to start off with your pointer on the B. Ring finger on D, middle finger on C, thumb on A. And the trick is to be able to get to that. So what I like to do is I like to start from the beginning of that E, D sharp, ring finger, middle finger. That allows me to have room to come down with my pointer finger to the B. Let's try just that. 5 total hits from the beginning, ring and middle, pointer to B. And what we don't want is a gap there. We don't want to hear the 5 notes and then after some amount of time, the B. We want like 5 hits like. Okay, so if we have both of those pieced together, we should now have this. Okay, now weirdly this is a 3 count for us to practice this. It's going to go 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Now, just for fun, and this is extra credit, we're going to try it a hair faster. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's extra credit if you want to build up to that speed. Okay, next thing we want to look at is going to be the left hand. Left hand, starting in bar 2, it's an A, an E, and then a high A, which means that my hand's got to be pretty well spread out, pinky on the low A, pointer up on the E, and then thumb on that super high A. That's going to look like this. And let me see if I can get the camera kind of close to in range on this. And I'm zoomed way in too far. Okay, we're looking at my left hand here, and I'm covering an A, my pinky, E, high A. Now, if your hand doesn't fully stretch from an A to an A, that full octave easily, we don't really care. Because at no point do we play the low A and the high A at the same time. I can kind of reduce the size of my hand, use pinky on the low A. When I come up to pointer, I'm releasing my pinky down here, and I can move my entire hand to the right a little bit and get me up to that high A. So let's take a moment and just get the E, A. Sorry, I said the letters wrong. The A, the E, and the high A. And again, this follows a 3 count, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go a hair faster. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now the key with this is to be able to start that left hand exactly at the same moment that we're finishing up the movement that we practiced with the right hand. And if we're playing the right hand part, this, and that final note of it there was an A. That's the exact moment that the left hand starts on its A. We like the A's to align there. So if I'm ready with my left hand, and the A that I'm going to end up with on my right hand is 1 octave away from the A that I'm going to end up when I come up with my left hand. So don't keep your hands super far apart when you do this. Now, right at the same time means we should have a starting point like this. That was both A's at the same time, and then my left hand will continue up after that, and on the same beats. But let's try just to get it to start at the same time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay, now you might want to rewind the video and run that a few times. I need you super solid on that part before you go any further with this. Oh, wait. Okay, we're back. Okay, and we're going to look at the paper here again. We're looking at the second bar, and we can see the left hand just came up, A, E, A. And immediately following that, I see 3 notes with the right hand, which are C, E, A. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about what you're seeing here. The left hand just finished coming up that big stretch, A, E, A, leaving me an A right here on the keyboard. The right hand is going to pick up on the C right next to it, then the E, and then the A. That's what's written on your paper. The C, the E, and the A immediately following that left-hand part. Well, what Beethoven was doing here was he was using both of his hands combined to form an A minor chord. Well, we know A minor. It's this. It's these three notes, all white keys, based on an A. So take a second, just find A minor, because that's what our eyes are really looking for when we do this. Kind of never minding that it requires two hands to play it the way he played it. He's just going to split the duties. The left hand will cover this A here, and the right hand is going to start off by covering the middle note C and the E above it. Well, how does that work in real time? Well, remember, try to keep your eyes on that A minor. My left hand is going to come up to the A we just saw, all the way from the low A up to the E to the A. And then the right hand is going to finish by hitting thumb on C, pointer finger on E, so that I'm left with an A minor chord. That's why I'm saying keep your eyes there. Left hand hit this, right hand went like this. And there is one additional note that the right hand will also pick up, which is the A octave. So it's a full A minor chord with the A up on top of it. But remember, my right hand has only got to cover this part of it. So there's not a lot of stretch with the right hand. It's an A minor chord partially played by the left hand, and an octave covered by my pinky of my right hand. So if I play just that bar starting with the left hand, that's what you're seeing on the piece of paper there. Left hand will start A, E, A, and if you need to practice that, stop the video and practice just that. Then the right hand is going to immediately pick up the C, the E, and the A as if there was an A minor chord here. So if I put both hands together, left 3, right 3. Now just for fun, I'm going to leave all my fingers pressed down so you can really see how it looks laid out. So when I look at it like this, I can see, well, the three notes on the left, that's my big spread out A, E, A. And the right hand picks up the top three notes, the C, E with the high A octave. And right in the middle of it, there's that A minor chord. And that's really what Beethoven was doing here, was just kind of coming up with a fancy way to play a nice low A, come up to an E, which you would expect if he had played an E minor chord in the left hand here, it would be A, C, E. But he doesn't like super low chords, so he leaves that C out of it. He loves the A and the E, kind of like a good rock power chord. And the A octave, left hand, then the right hand finishes the A minor and puts the octave on top. We're going to try that whole bar. Again, it's 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's try putting bar 1 and bar 2 together. And if you need a moment, stop, rewind the video, and make sure that you have everything up to this point. And we're back. Now you should have, from the beginning, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, If you don't have that, rewind farther back into the video, work on just the right hand or just the left hand or just that final bit that you just saw me do. Okay, we're back. Let's assume that you're good up to that point. We do have one more note that we want to add into the right hand at the end of this. The left hand started in bar 2 from that low A. The right hand finished the A minor, put the octave in, and I also need a B right after it. That's the first note of the third bar. And there's no pause there. So if I'm coming from bar 2, now, a lot of people are trained to play that high A with their pinky and then play the B also with their pinky. If your hand can stretch, you might want to use ring finger for that high A, followed by pinky for that B. Either way is acceptable. I'll be switching now to ring finger for that A so that I have my pinky spare to play that high B. We're going to be taking it from bar 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now, if you are not getting that exactly right, stop, rewind the video, and make sure you have that before you go any further. Okay, we're back. Hello. We're going to be playing this B. This is the beginning of the third bar. And the same moment that I play this, we're going to take a look at what the left hand is doing here. It's these 3 notes. It happens to be E, G sharp, and B. Now, E, G sharp, and B, quiz time. That makes a chord. Which chord? Stop the video if you want to guess. It's E major. It's an E major chord. If it had not the G sharp but a regular G in it, that's E minor. But if you guessed E major, you did well. And yeah, it's an E major chord. It comes up one note at a time. Then take a look at what the right hand does. The exact same thing. E, G sharp, B. This is one of my favorite parts to play in this song because it's just an E major in the left hand and an E major in the right hand. It starts with the left hand playing its 3 notes. Then the right hand plays its 3 notes. We're going to do just that with a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now the trick is to get that started at the exact moment that we finished bar 2. Because now at the end of bar 2, if we kind of rewind backwards, the left hand, if you remember, started on this low A. We came up what seemed to be an A minor chord with an octave, and I had you add that high B in there. And that moment that B hits, that's the exact moment that I start my left hand E chord down here. You can see that's aligned on the paper. The B hits right as the left hand starts the E major chord. Okay, let me put it in context for you. Bar 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I were you, I would stop and rewind the video and run just that, if you don't mind, to get that transition so you don't have a pause in there. And that's going to take some work. Let's say that you've made it this far now. There's only one bar left. We're moving now down to the second line of the piece of paper. And what we can see is that the right hand has one more note to play. And that's a C. Well, if I'm looking at what just happened in the third bar, where my left hand and my right hand were both on an E major chord, the very last note that I played there was a B. And I should be using my ring finger for that B, meaning that there's a C right here, and I am able to use my pinky for that. And that's the note I'm going to need as I start the second line of this piece of paper. Take a moment and run through the left hand E major and the right hand E major and see if you can get to that C like this. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. Great. Okay. Now, as you can see, the left hand does have some more stuff to do in the second line of the piece of paper, but you've already seen this before. This is exactly what we saw in bar 2. It drops down again, low A, up to E, up to the A. Same exact thing that we've done, so we don't really have to relearn how to do that, which is nice. This does start at the exact moment that I arrive on that high C note from coming out of bar 3. That means this. If I go back to bar 3, these are the two E major chords. That was the C that started the second line of this, right at the end of those two E majors. Now, that transition takes a little bit of time. So let's take a look at bar 3 and get to the beginning of the second line. So this is going to be the E major chord, coming up left hand, and get to the C, right at the exact same moment that my left hand comes in on that low A again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. Okay. Now from here on out, you're through the worst of it. The tough part is to get the left hand to start on the final note of these right hand phrases. It's not easy. And it does require some practice to do it. But you're in the home stretch. You're in the final bar of this part. If I'm looking at the second line now and I know how to start it, I'm going to switch back to just looking at left hand here again. Second line. And right after that, I'm going to see that the right hand has a low E here, followed by a high E here. Octaves. So I need to get my left hand to flow into my right hand like this. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, now you only have one more note left to add. You've done the E and the octave E, D sharp. Now this is where we hear the song kind of starting over again, that And that's right where you are in the song. But we're in the second line, which is going to come up through the A, E, A, low E, high E octave, D sharp. And if you look at the piece of paper, there's an arrow right at the end of that bar that brings you back into the top line. But weirdly, it skips the first two notes. The first two notes on your piece of paper are lead in. Let me show you what I mean. This is not really a bar here. It was just E, D sharp. Two lead-in notes. The first bar came in right after that and started here. And there's 6 notes in this bar, 6 beats. Well, you see this final E, D sharp down here in the second part? That takes the place of this E, D sharp here. It's the same exact lead-in. So this bar doesn't need to use the lead-in again. It's already done it here. That's why this arrow here brings you in where it does, midway through this little part. So it ends up being a total of 5 counts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E. The same exact thing that we played in the beginning. Now, sometimes when you see me write stuff like this, I might take these lead-in notes and I might put them in parentheses. And you have that option if you want. But these notes are the same as these notes. And if I choose to look at this from the beginning, I see the total of 5 notes. E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E. That's this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or if I'm reading it from here, here's the first note, the second note, and we skip ahead 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but it's the same notes. E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E. Total of 5 that sounds like this. E, D sharp, E, D sharp, E. So if I started from here and jumped to that, you couldn't hear any difference if I had read it from here and played the 5 notes. Start here, start there, it doesn't make any difference. And that's one of the reasons that the song has such a smooth turnaround in it. It's a little bit odd to spot how he did the timing for it, but it can work. So one of the reasons that we like to look at this particular song is this. Beethoven was actually setting the groundwork for a lot of how music works. For example, if I'm looking at something like Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin, or No Quarter by Led Zeppelin, or really anything based on power chords, which is most of rock music, most arena rock, that low A and that low E, that's a power chord. Keyboard players in bands, especially classic rock bands, looked at Beethoven pretty seriously because he was very kind of like seeing the future in terms of how music was going to be written and how it was going to be played. So, is it fun to play? It's good for a piano player to know 1 or 2 classical songs or parts of classical songs that sound nice on a piano. It's certainly fun to play it. And it gets your hands ready to do the kind of right hand, left hand thing that we're going to see a lot in rock and roll. My advice to you would be, if you have any parts that you're unsure of, if you're unable to run this as a loop, rewind and check out whatever parts you might be missing. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.